Thank you so much, Abhijit. So now we have the another session on the very important topic for the practitioner, even I would say the younger generation, the growth strategy and opportunity for professionals post-COVID era. We have seen how much challenging time it was during the COVID, and most of the practitioners with the guidance of institute and various committee, everyone has diversified the field, and everyone has taken up the new area for the practice. So with this, the discussion on this topic, we have very eminent, very expert speaker, none other than our past president, Shri K. Raghuji. But before this, I would request Kemisha ma'am, who is the chairman of CP committee, to enlighten us and to share a few words with our participants as a word of wisdom.
Thank you, Aniruddha ji. Just again, I would like to welcome our all participants, and specifically, I would like to welcome our Honorable Past President, K. Raghu sir. For the information of our member, that we have already organized 7 VCM in this 360-degree learning series, covering the topics on various topics related to practicing areas. And this session also, I would say, in June, first time we have started new things about that, about Leaders Speaks. So for the information of our Honorable Past President Raghu sir, that we have started series Leader Speaks. Under that, we are inviting who all are leader at our ICI and in our profession, and we are taking guidance and valuable input on that particular topics related to new professional opportunity also. And in reference of that, I would say just because of so many professional opportunities are there, but because of in COVID pandemic, so many changes are there. Incorporation of digital world technology and also work from home concepts, and we can accept that thing is so many other act regulations are already introduced. For example, after GST also RERA, insolvency valuations, and so many other fields are there for outsourcing also. So for today's webinar, we have with Honorable Past President ICI. So without taking much time, I will hand over proceedings to Aniruddha ji, and I would like to welcome Raghu sir in this CP seminar.
Thank you so much, Kemisha ma'am. And I would say you are very inspiring for the young professionals, because you always keep guiding and sharing knowledge with various forums and giving suggestions to how to start practice, how to grow up, and how to take up the new opportunity and how to face the challenges. So thank you so much for all your guidance and support toward the betterment of professionals. Thank you so much, madam. Now moving further, we have the next session, and we have very great speaker, CA K. Raghuji, who has started his journey as a chartered accountant in the year 1990. And he has elected as a president of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for the tenure 2014 and 15. And he has done so much work in his tenure for the betterment of profession. He was the honorary member of Certified Public Accountants of Australia, and he was the director of board of Indian Overseas Bank and board member of IFAC. He is specialized in the field of taxation, auditing, business advisory, investment, and also he has contributed to the startup ecosystem in the state of Karnataka. His area of contribution are as identifying, helping, assisting startups in the country to give them support to start their business, to run their business smoothly, how to get the funding, how to set the SOPs, how to make operation smooth. So, sir does not need any introduction, and he is so much experienced in all the fields which we have discussed. And we are so much excited to hear you, sir, on this topic, the opportunity for the professionals post-COVID era. As we have seen after the pandemic, the way of working has been changed drastically. The physical audit has gone away, and now we have started the virtual audits. we have conducted so many audits. Even the bank audits was done virtually. So a lot of things got changed to the cloud and to the IT information technology. So now we want to hear you, and we want to know so much other things as well. How we can diversify our practice and get the new opportunity. Over to you, Shri Raghu sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anirudh Tiwari, for having introduced me. Kemisha, good evening. I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fine. Yeah, good evening, and my compliments to the chairman of the CP committee, Kemisha Soni, for the excellent way in which she has leveraged on technology to deliver content to the doorsteps of members, not only on a variety of subjects, 360-degree coverage of various subjects. Whenever I get a mail from the CP committee, even though whether I attend the webinar or not, I go through the content, I go through the speakers, and whatever interests me, I make it a point and watch them. And I would like to compliment Kemisha Soni, the chairman, and Nandaji, the vice chairman, for having taken the initiative. The first webcast was held when I was in the first ICA webcast. And Sri Mohandas Pai from the Infosys headquarters spoke, and then Mr. Suresh Henapati from the Wipro headquarters spoke live. And for us at that point of time, maybe about 12 years back, it was something exciting for us to view a webcast. And we had taken the help of leading, WebEx provider, that is Cisco, and the entire council members sat in the President's Hall. We saw the webcast, and we were all very excited. But today, I'm happy that so many programs of the institute is being webcast live, and speakers across the world, across the country are sharing knowledge. And I wish to compliment Kemisha for leveraging on technology in such a great way. I think no other chairman of the CP committee has delivered so much of content to the members online, and you have leveraged on the pandemic. My compliments to you, Kemisha ji, for the good work you're doing. And please go ahead. Tell me, Kemisha, say something.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And I would say, for the information of our members, that you were instrumental specifically when you were President ICI. That time you have taken so many initiatives related to specifically digital, because what we are seeing today's environment, digital ICI. So that at the time of you were President, that time all initiative has taken place, sir. Thank you for sir that.
Yeah, thank you, Kemisha ji, for the good work you people are doing. I am sure you will continue to leverage on this. So you will have a hybrid. The members, I think, should be happy. My good wishes to all of them this evening, because they'll have an option to watch at home. And for some reason, they do not want to watch at home or office. They want to go to the institute, and a cup of coffee, meet a few friends. They can still have the option of going to the institute. So you'll have a combination of either going to the institute or choosing to view from home. I think this hybrid system is something which you should continue, Kemisha ji. As a chairman of the CP committee, you should encourage all the branches to do it. Fine. Having said this, let me straight away go to the topics. Yes, we are going through tough times, challenging times, and all of you would accept with me that COVID has impacted each one of us. And this morning, in fact, Bangalore has been witnessing a lockdown for the last 2 months. Just last week, Bangalore has opened up, because a number of cases in Karnataka has come down. So I had the opportunity of stepping out of my home, and then we went for some shopping this morning. I thought, Wednesday morning, let's do some shopping. Believe it or not, everything looks so normal, but absolutely no COVID appropriate behavior is what I could see. And this is something which I'm sure when I read the papers and watch the TV, everywhere in whichever part of the country, there's a mad rush for shopping, jewelry, textiles. There's huge consumer appetite, and and as a result of which you find a lot of people getting crowded. I only wish and pray God that we don't have the third wave, because third wave would impact the economy very badly. As you're all aware, April, May, June has been a very tough time, tough quarter. Many businesses have still not even started their operations. Most of the shops were closed. Only a few manufacturing industries were working. So what I thought in my presentation, I've divided my presentation into 3 parts. I will talk about the impact of COVID on the economy as a whole. Number 2, I'll talk about what are the new aged opportunities. and number 3, how we can grow our practice. This is how I've structured the presentation, because friends, like post-COVID, what I see is people operating their business, they're taking tough decisions, they're getting to new lines of we also need to proactively see what is good, what is not good for us, and how do we change ourselves so that we adapt to the new developments taking place post-COVID. Because if we stick to the traditional areas, I think we are in trouble. We need to understand what is happening around us. And today we find a lot of new sectors have opened up, which I will be talking about post-COVID, which are the sunrise sectors. So according to me, every crisis, there lies an opportunity. So we as chartered accountants should see what the opportunity is there for us in the post-COVID area. Because as I said, COVID has crippled various sectors of the economy. And as a result of this, we find that the economy is limping back to normalcy. And in India, the impact of Corona is about $358 million. That is a kind of impact in India. And most of the world economies are struggling with rising unemployment. And many of the countries are on the brink of recession. So this is as far as the COVID impact. And I've just given you a scenario which talks about how lockdown has impacted various sectors of the economy. I would not go into great detail this because we've all seen enough of this in the newspaper. But only days as chartered accountants, I think we should be aware that the manufacturing sector, which was heavily dependent on China, because China was the global hub for manufacturing, and they used to contribute 28% of the world global manufacturing output. And as a result of which, we found that China was a favored destination. But with Corona, with COVID, and a lot of suspicion, the fact that China would have been responsible for this, many companies are shying away from China. They're looking at Vietnam, looking at Indonesia, they're looking at Cambodia, looking at Singapore. Units. Of course, India is also of countries. Essential. The right, no disruption, and once new manufacturing setup comes to India, I think that will be a great opportunity for India to become one of the leading manufacturers, and competing with some of the best, countries. Coming to the IT sector has, sort of brought in a lot of, you can say, changes. Today, work from home reality. I come from a city like Bangalore. There are more than 30 to 35 lakh young IT professionals working in many multinational companies and software companies. The whole of Bangalore is flooded with engineers from across the country. And what I see in Bangalore, at least in the place where I stay, IT sector has not been impacted. People are working from home comfortably. The companies are also happy with the fact that the staff is working from home and their output is also good. And today, the IT industry's revenue, which was estimated at around $191 billion, 50 in spite of the pandemic. And this is one segment of the economy that there has been enormous market boom. Most of the companies have done well, the IT industries. And according to me, this is the remote working is doing well. And as a result of which, we have seen a lot of technological changes. Employees have been provided with new laptops. They have been provided with furniture to work from home. They've been provided the allowances so that they get motivated to work from home for long hours. And IT sector, when I've interacted with many of my clients, many of my friends working in the IT sector, they say nothing has changed. In fact, they're very happy that they don't need to commute from home to office, because in Bangalore, as you know, commuting from home to office takes about 1.5 hours every day in the morning, and even about 3 hours. They're able to, avoid commuting to their workplace. Then coming to the telecommunication sector, I think all of you would agree with me that the telecommunication sector has grown leaps and bounds because of COVID. Today, voice calls, video calls are all very common. People have stopped traveling domestic and overseas. Everything happens on Zoom or any of the other platforms. The reason, friends, why I'm trying to share the impact of COVID on the various sectors is that as chartered accountants, your clients come to you for consultation. they would want to know from you which to invest, which are the sectors, they could get into. And it's essential for us as chartered accountants to understand that, these are the sectors which one should invest, one should not invest. The telecommunication sector has been doing extremely well. And with people not traveling much, I think, in the years to come, I feel more and more companies will invest in good telecom bandwidth. And of course, the usage also is skyrocketing. If you check your mobile phones, you realize suddenly that you have started using your internet more than what you used to use before the pandemic. So that is as far as the telecommunication sector is concerned. Coming to the healthcare sector is something which because of the pandemic, we find that the healthcare sector is doing very well. And today, we find that when we talk about healthcare, we talk about hospitals, we talk about wellness products, we talk about fitness equipments, online delivery of medicines. And today, when you want to consult a doctor, whether it's a skin doctor, an eye doctor, video consultations have become very common. You just have to, fix up for a video consultation. You consult your doctor on the video and then you pay the fees to the doctor. And products like immunity-related products, masks, sanitizers have all sort of huge demand in these products. And the Indian pharma industry has been highly benefited in this disruption because India is known as the pharma capital of the world. So I see a huge growth in the pharmaceutical industry, and the healthcare sector has rapidly grown. All of us have seen in the last month, that is in the month of May and June, how hospitals, dispensaries, health clinics, they all did well. So health sector, diagnostic centers, pharmaceutical manufacture of drugs, everything did well during the COVID scenario. So a lot of investments are pouring into this healthcare sector, and way forward with the more waves of COVID likely to come, I think the investments in healthcare sector would increase. So let us say a client comes to you and asks you, is it a good idea to invest in the healthcare sector because of this? You need to understand how the healthcare sector is growing. Then coming to the education sector, yes, education sector today, virtual classes have become the new normal. All the students, whether right from 0 to 10, are getting exposure to the educational tutorials using Zoom, WebEx, and all that. And as a result of it, there's been an exponential demand for smartphones, laptops, and other smart devices, which will help the students to go to the virtual classes. Today, even the CA students, you'll be surprised. Generally, you used to go to the coaching classes. But now with, the coaching classes being available online, the students can subscribe to that on an annual basis, download the classes of their choice, listen to the lecturer of their choice, and any number of times they can listen to the same lecturer. Maybe they can pick up a teacher for financial reporting from Delhi. They could pick up a teacher for costing from Chennai. So they're able to pick and choose faculties across the country, download their content whenever they want to listen to the lecture there. So all this has facilitated a boom in the education sector. So every sector, even for IAS, IPS coaching, virtual classes have become extremely popular. So what I mean to say, huge investments are coming to the education sector, and I think you should be aware of this. Coming to the entertainment sector, today no longer theaters are ready to open because the government has put a lot of restrictions. Many top movies are being released on OTT platforms, and people are spending a lot of time at home watching movies, watching web shows, everything. And so entire sectors have undergone a change. Traditionally, we have been used to going to theaters to watch movies, but today people are fine to watch a good movie on a good TV screen on the OTT platform. So entertainment industry also has undergone a massive change. Huge investments are happening, and it is essential for us as professionals to understand that entertainment sector is also going well. Friends, the reason why I thought I should cover all the aspects of the various sectors is that we as accountants, when the clients come to us for consultation, we should be in a position to guide them that this sector is doing well, this sector is not doing well. You can invest in this sector. You should not get into this sector. We should be completely aware, and we should have complete knowledge of each and every sector. So coming to the job losses has been plenty. 400 million full-time jobs have been lost in the last year due to COVID. And especially in the South Asian region comprising of Afghanistan, Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, 89 million jobs have been lost. And if you look at Q2, almost 11. So the job losses are very, very high. This is something concerning all the governments. And I'm sure there's something which we need to be aware of. So friends, having said the various impact of COVID on various sectors of the economy, what is it we as chartered accountants need to do? Yes, COVID has impacted us also. Those of you who are in practice would be aware that the clients are taking time to come back to normalcy, as a result of which we are not in a position to, get into a fast track mode. But yes, we have no choice. We have to be with the clients, help the clients. So what are the changes that have been brought about post-COVID and how this post-COVID scenario will impact us? One is the digital economy. Internet has become all-invasive. You agree with me, post-COVID. And even before COVID, the government of India gave a push for digitization. Today, we find that a lot of companies have adopted the model of selling their products and services online. Business models are getting recalibrated. And online banking, I was on the board of Indian Overseas Bank. We know how much effort was made to make online banking popular, even rural India. Online education already said. So we find that the entire business models are changing. And because of this digitization, the entire world is going digital. So we can say that we are all in the midst of a digital economy. And being in the midst of a digital economy, we as chartered accountants should understand how this digital economy would impact each one of us. Friends, a few years back, who knew that Ola, Uber, Swiggy, and all these apps would become so popular? We were just used to Flipkart or Amazon, but today all these apps like, having your goods delivered by Dunzo, getting your food from Zomato, all this have become so popular and so common. So the entire business has become popular. Even doing online trading of shares, like you have the Zerodha platform, which is the number one platform for the country. So we find that internet has brought about a big change. The digital economy has brought about a big change in the way businesses are being conducted. And even traditional businessmen are using the online platform to sell their products and services. In Bangalore, even the silk saree showrooms are having an online presence. So in case you're not in a position to go to the shop, you can see the silk saree online and buy the sarees online. Buying tickets, buying, ties, everything today are so easy. And with such good apps available, everyone, all the housewives are able to order for potatoes, onion, tomatoes, groceries, everything sitting at home. So when so many digital transactions take place, don't you think as chartered accountants, we are responsible to give an assurance to the client that everything is going on fine? All the digital transactions are being recorded properly. All the payments for the digital transaction is getting into the payment gateway. Ensure that the backend reconciliation is strong. So I think this is where we as chartered accountants can play a role. In a digital economy, when the entire business is going digital, you should be able to conduct an audit in a digital environment. And for that, you require skill sets. So what I mean to say is that the digital economy, which was there earlier to COVID, post-COVID, it has multiplied. We need to understand this chain and we need to understand how we can help the clients, give an assurance to them that all the transaction happening on the digital platform is happening fine. Friends, some of the new technologies that would impact all of us, which we need to understand is artificial intelligence. Today, using artificial intelligence, a lot of tax utilities are coming. Let us say you want to know the latest Supreme Court decisions, you can use a tax utility, which you can just go to the app and say that, can you provide me with all the latest Supreme Court decisions on Section 43B of the Income Tax Act? Everything comes out. I had the opportunity of seeing a tax software during when I was on the board of IFAC in America. They're using artificial intelligence for all the tax. Let us say a company like Taxman is coming out with publications. If they have an e-publication, if you ask what are all the recent decisions of the Supreme Court on this particular section, within no time the entire thing is generated. Then the biggest advantage of artificial intelligence is that you can analyze key market trends. You can analyze your sales, how the movement of inventory takes place, how the processes can be automated, how you can reduce the cost. So artificial intelligence brings about a lot of change. And if you're a consultant for a digital transformation project today, chartered accountants are not only involved in traditional audit practices, conducting statutory audit. They're asked to also help the client to automate the business process. So we find that we should have the knowledge of how artificial intelligence works, because artificial intelligence is being used extensively for automating the business processes. Coming to blockchain is gaining popularity. The institute is having a certification course on blockchain. It's an open distributed ledger where transactions are recorded and it can be verified. And in a blockchain environment, audit happens on an online real-time basis. Traditionally, audits happen. Nandaji has come. Welcome to Nandaji.
Recording in progress.
Nandaji, welcome.
My brother, Honorable President C.A. Raghuji, it is an honor to see you here, sir. Really,
I'll take a 1 minute break. You can speak for some time.
Sir, I don't have the right to speak before you, sir, but I want to say that the profession has so many towering personalities and you are one amongst them, sir. I have always lived by you. I have always seen the way you take decisions in the council and how you could carry the agendas, working single-pointedly for the welfare of members and students alike, not only big cities, but smaller cities and coastal towns also. I am a big fan of yours, sir, and I've always seen you work in tandem to ensure that best of the talent comes to the institute and chartered accountants are awarded as best of the professionals. I have high regards for you, and your working style has left the entire council in a mode that we have to embrace. We have to follow what you have done and put that in the right perspective, sir. Great, sir. Great.
Thank you, Mr. Nandaji.
Sir, what I suggest when you speak, sir, tell members about startups also, because you are a pioneer in consulting startups, so that in this pandemic times, members are able to take a call on the professional opportunities that can be given to you, sir. Great.
Thank you, Nandaji. In fact, Nandaji has been a very big source of support to me in the council. When I was the president of the institute, Nandaji, I had the opportunity of working with him for 9 years, a very fine gentleman. Always, whenever I pick up the call and tell Mr. Nandaji, you should take up this responsibility, he always says, there's nothing like no from Nandaji. Thanks to you, Nandaji, for the excellent support you have given me during my tenure as a president and vice president, and also the good times we had when we were together in the council. One thing about Nandaji is that he likes to do things, in a different fashion. When he was the chairman of the Women Empowerment Committee, he did so many programs for the women members of our profession across the country. Even in places like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Doha, the women empowerment groups were set up. And believe it or not, they were so happy that the institute is taking so much of interest in them. And Nandaji had spearheaded this whole activity across the country. And today, across all chapters, overseas and across all branches, lot of special initiatives are done, and Kemisha Soni has taken the lead forward and given a much bigger push to the women empowerment activities in the country. And I remember still when I was in Rome for the IFAC, the World Congress of Accountants, I represented India, and we showcased in one particular stall about what all we are doing for women. And believe it or not, that stall got an award. And in IFAC's agenda today, I think Kemisha is aware of that because she's also regularly attending the IFAC board meetings. IFAC has taken women empowerment as one of the, in fact, when I wanted to have this committee, the council said, we debated in the council and finally the council approved it. But today, IFAC has taken this as an agenda.
Yes, top priority, sir. Top priority.
And, they have seen to it that, women empowerment is required for the profession. Thank you, Nandaji. You are the initiator of this committee. You're the first chairman of this committee, and you did an excellent job. And Kemisha Soni and all others followed you. Here only one thing.
Just I would add in that point, because presently UN SDG 5 goal that is related to gender equality. So we have already started, I would say, when Nandaji was chairman of this Women Empowerment Committee.
Excellent. In fact, just before you joined, I was complimenting Kemisha for the good work the CP's committee in delivering lectures online to the members, the kind of topics. My compliments to you also for supporting Kemisha Soni as a vice chairman, to see that CP is not getting hampered because of COVID or any of the,
No, sir, we are doing best of the programs. Earlier to you, we had a program on integrity. the GST laws. Next Monday, we have program on cyber crimes and how to combat them. So we are, by your blessings, on the right, spearheading towards the right cause so that members can be trained in tandem of what is required of them.
Thank you, Nandaji. I think both Kemisha and yourself are doing an excellent job. My compliments to you. And definitely we would like to see both of you in good roles in the institute, higher, bigger roles, so that the profession would be benefited by your contribution.
Thank you. Thank you, President Sir. All your love and affection. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So coming to blockchain, basically what is happening is that today, the banking industry would be the first sector that will be impacted by blockchain in the country. We had a presentation on blockchain in New York. IBM showed us how a blockchain ledger is. And let me tell you, friends, it's exciting actually. Let us say you go to a bank for drawing money today, you present a check. There's a lady in the counter who checks your status of the bank, whether you have the funds. Then she approves the payment. Then she sends the check physically to another counter, and there's one more lady who checks it, validates the payment, and only then the payment is made. In a blockchain, everything happens instantaneously. You don't need to move from counter to counter. Everything gets approved. The moment the check is given, she approves it. The lady sitting there approves it, and then the same counter cash is given to you. So without split seconds, you're able to withdraw the cash. In a blockchain environment, what is important is that you have access to all the information on an online basis, and you have to conduct an audit on an online real-time basis. Okay, let us say, a company like Zerodha, which is having so many millions of people transacting on the platform, buying and selling shares. You will have access, let us say you're the auditor of that company, you will have online real-time access to the data, and you should ensure that everything is being done properly and proper controls are there, IT controls are there in the organization for blockchain to happen. So blockchain is a new area. So why I'm suggesting you to know, want you people to know more about artificial intelligence, more about blockchain is that these technologies will help you to get into newer areas of practice. And that is what is the need of our traditional areas. Yes, of course, we're all into traditional areas, but it's essential for us to move away from traditional areas and get into new areas where there are a lot of opportunities. Coming to cloud accounting, I think most of us would agree that today accounting data is being stored on remote servers. They're no longer being stored in the servers in the office. And you are able to work from home, you're able to work from office, you're able to work from the airport. Cloud computing, provides an access to the data in your server. Traditionally, the data used to be in your CPUs in your office, but now with moving to the cloud, you can access the information anytime. You can audit sitting at home, audit sitting at office, or from an outside location, a client's location. Cloud computing has been very, very useful to the auditing profession because it provides flexibility, it provides scalable computing infrastructure, and it's gaining acceptance all over the world. Many mid to large size companies are embracing cloud technology, and we should have the expertise of auditing in a cloud environment. We can't, the client will ask me, Mr. Raghu, do you have the manpower to audit in a cloud environment? Yes, we should develop the expertise to see that we are able to audit in a cloud environment. These are some of the new things that's coming up. Analytics, yes, today all organizations are having large amount of data. So it becomes very difficult for them to manage this data. So there's a need of a professional who can analyze this data, mine this data, and put the data in an organized fashion so that the information can be used by the organization for further growth and development. Today, companies have started using analytics. Chartered accountants with analytical knowledge are in great demand. If you see any of the advertisements in the newspaper, it calls for CAs with analytical. I think Anirudh would agree with me. Chartered accountants with analytical experience can apply. So analytics is an area for you to watch out. So all the young CAs like Anirudh, who are young, dynamic, should develop knowledge of blockchain, develop knowledge in cloud, develop knowledge in artificial intelligence, develop knowledge of analytics, so that they're able to scale up the ladder, they're able to grow their practice, and if they are in employment, they're able to go higher up in the ladder. Robotic process automation is already there. Lot of traditional activity, like for example, punching accounting data, generating payroll, all this is all very routine activities. Now with robotic process automation, all this gets computerized. It's possible for you to generate a payroll. It's possible for you to punch data using RPA. Let us say, 1,000 sales vouchers have to be punched into the system. You just have to use a barcode scanner and scan the particular invoice, automatically you have the accounting happening, sales accounting happening. So robotic process automation also facilitates bank reconciliation, facilitates punching of accounting data. And I've seen in many organizations today in our country, there's plenty of RPA happening in the finance and accounting function, and they're able to optimize their process, reduce their dependence on manpower, and everything gets automated. Now, coming to the next big opportunity, what is there for all of us post-COVID is that IFRS. IFRS is gaining, IFRS today, a lot of countries, more than 130, 35 countries are following IFRS. And due to globalization of capital markets, a lot of investors are investing in Indian companies, global investors investing in Indian companies. And today, India has decided to migrate to IFRS. The council has taken a decision that it is essential for us to converge with IFRS, because some countries like Pakistan adopted IFRS straight away, but India decided, no, we will not adopt IFRS. We will converge with IFRS. We will make exceptions, what is required, what is speculative, because India is a large country. So we have about 7 to 8 differences between our Ind AS and IFRS. Maybe in the next 1 or 2 years, even these differences would reduce to 2 or 3. And today we are following IFRS in total for all the large size entities, because we decided to roll it on in a phased manner. And there's a need for all of us watching this webinar, to understand this new accounting standard known as IFRS. Because once you have the knowledge of this, you can be a part of the implementation team for a company to help them to migrate to IFRS. You can look for a global career. If you're going to US or Australia or UK, IFRS is what everyone wants you to know. If you tell them you have the knowledge of IFRS, you can easily get a job. I'm sure, friends, that all of you would agree with me. The new generation chartered accountants are having IFRS as part of the curriculum. But for all of us, there's a need for us to learn the standards, because all the companies today are following Ind AS, which is fully compliant with IFRS, and IFRS is gaining ground across the world. This is the big picture. More than 120 countries are following IFRS. There's a great international opportunity that is available. So I would request, all of you that whoever is, wanting to take up a global career to specialize in IFRS. Even if you're not interested in a global career, if you want to, let us say, offer your services to companies, yes, IFRS gives you a great opportunity. Today, a young CA with the knowledge of IFRS can easily get double the salary of a normal CA. If you tell that you have specialized knowledge of IFRS, if you have done a certification course on IFRS, if you've worked on IFRS, then the package would be double what a normal CA can get. And when you look at other countries, definitely, huge demand. And IFRS now requires valuation to be done by chartered accountants. That is giving a new opportunity. And then today, chartered accountants are being appointed by companies to help them in IFRS transition. And as I said, international opportunity, chartered accountants with IFRS knowledge can go abroad. Coming to banks, friends, chartered accountants are already active in the banking space, doing concurrent audit, doing statutory audit, revenue audit, then many other audits, quarterly reviews and all that. And today, banking sector is utilizing the service of CS, even forensic audit of NP accounts. So forensic audit has gained popularity. And these are all the new skill sets which we should learn. I have also registered for this course and I've done the course. I have just to give the examination. Forensic audit will provide an opportunity for you to do an audit of NP accounts. Today, all the major NP accounts in the banks are subjected to forensic audit. So the banking sector is throwing up a lot of opportunity. Insolvency also is a new opportunity. You can be an insolvency professional and you can help the banks to recover their money. You could be a forensic auditor for a bank. So the banking sector is something where a lot of new opportunities would come post-COVID, because we find more and more banks are resorting to, resolution to the insolvency route. So this is the insolvency and bankruptcy code. A lot of CAs are today insolvency professionals. It gives an opportunity for chartered accountants to develop knowledge, and bank balance sheets are getting clean because of this. And this has led to the improvement of recoveries in the bank. So I would suggest that those of you who are interested, youngsters could get into the insolvency and bankruptcy code, they could become insolvency professional. Plenty of opportunities are there. Why I'm trying to talk to you about all the new opportunities, friends, is that traditionally chartered accountants are involved in statutory audit, internal audit, consulting, then various other traditional areas. But now filing of tax returns, tax planning. But yes, being an insolvency professional, doing an forensic audit are all the new opportunities that are there. So we should leverage on this and try to see how we can add value. As I already said, due to increasing frauds that is taking place in the banking sector, many people who are borrowing money from the bank are diverting these funds. So as a result of which, RBI has made it mandatory for all banks to introduce forensic audit. So if you go to countries like UK, forensic audit is very, very popular. And I have seen there that the demand for forensic profession is very high. And I also am able to foresee that in India also, chartered accountants, the knowledge of forensic audit will be great demand. Nandaji was talking about how the institute is launching courses on cyber consulting. Today, cyber attacks are becoming very common because of the huge use of digital. What is happening is that a lot of transactions are happening on the internet. Insurance products are being sold. Today, we are able to buy products and services on the internet. So there's a chance that cyber attacks can happen. One of the biggest problem for the public sector banks and the private sector banks in India is because of the cyber attacks. So if you have the knowledge of cyber services, providing cyber strategy and management, if you have the knowledge of cyber intelligence, chartered accountants are the most ideal people. If they have the knowledge of all these areas, they could have an excellent future, because there's tremendous shortage of chartered accountants in all these areas. And with increasing computer frauds, I see an opportunity for all of us in consulting in these areas. Coming to fintech, as I said, is financial services and technology getting together. And today, e-wallets have become popular, like Paytm, PhonePe, all this have become popular. And talked about stock market trading, where everything is happening, on the apps being provided. Zerodha is a good example. Online insurance, where insurance, you can buy medical insurance, you can buy general insurance online. Today, invoicing and tax computing also is becoming online. So fintech is the new feature. Bangalore is having some of the top fintech companies. So chartered accountants, youngsters who are not interested in getting to traditional areas can get into the fintech industry. Fintech industry revolves around personal finance products, consumer banking, then lending. So there's a big opportunity for chartered accountants with the knowledge of technology to work in the fintech sector. Friends, the reason why I have wanted to bring all these opportunities to you is that these are all the new opportunities opening up post-COVID because of the rapid digitization. I think we should all understand the changes that is taking place around us, the various opportunities that are open to us, and try to see how you can leverage on these opportunities so that you are able to build a good, strong career. Anirudh, how many people are watching this webcast, Anirudh?
Sir, 2,000 plus, sir.
Excellent. That's really good. So my idea is to see that the members who are watching this webcast, they should move away from traditional areas. Yes, traditional areas, they should continue. But in addition to that, they should get into new areas, look at appointing new teams. You might tell me, Mr. Raghu, we do not have the staff to do cyber consulting. We do not have the staff to do forensic auditing. We do not have the staff.
The recording has stopped. This meeting is being recorded.
My suggestion to all the chartered accountants who are watching this is that there are two ways of doing it. Either you network with other chartered accountant firms to carry out these activities, or you develop your own expertise, your personal expertise. Nothing like developing your own expertise. It doesn't take much time for you to specialize in forensic audit or insolvency. And the third option is to take young guys, young promising guys who can lead different verticals, have different verticals in your office, one vertical for statutory audit, one vertical for internal audit, one vertical for insolvency, one vertical for, new things that is happening, IT consulting. So then you'll be able to grow your practice. But for all this, networking is very important. Sitting, let us say, in a small place like Jalandhar or sitting in a small place like Mysore, you'll not be able to grow a practice. You need to collaborate with other CA firms around the country. Let us say Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai. You need to work with them. You need to understand the emerging technologies. And when you talk about technology, you need to work with IT companies also. You need to work with IT professionals also. because chartered accountants are not IT professionals. So you should have the willingness to learn, willingness to take the help of IT professionals and IT companies and see how all this will help you to grow your practice and get into newer areas. Friends, in a city like Bangalore, you'll be surprised and shocked to know that many chartered accountants are getting into a lot of new areas. Like talking about startup consulting. Startup consulting is a big area. Bangalore is a hub for startups. Today, we have so many successful startups, and many unicorns. Unicorns are the most successful startups in the country are from Bangalore. And chartered accountants are offering services to these startups, right from accounting, compliance, incorporating these companies, providing them consulting, helping them to raise funds, preparing business plans for them. Plenty of opportunity in the startup space. So if at all you want to specialize, you can specialize in startup, have a separate, you can say vertical for startups and try to grow your practice. Why I'm trying to tell you all this, friends, is that post-COVID, a lot of changes would take place. As I said, many sectors have been impacted. I've also said about how technology will bring about a change the way we deliver our services and how opportunities would keep changing. You might still feel, I still remember when I qualified in the 1990, we used to go to the income tax department. Anirudh Tiwari might not know this. 1990, I qualified as a chartered accountant in my first attempt. My father was a chartered accountant. I was a second generation chartered accountant. And when I used to go to office during articleship, my father used to take me to the income tax department. We used to sit for some time. When you go to the income tax department, you have to go there, drive down there, wait for the officer. The officer calls you inside. You represent your client. He'll ask you for a set of information. Then you get back to your office, prepare all the information. Again, go take another appointment. Go to the assisting officer once again. And it used to take about 3 to 4 visits for us to conclude an assessment. Today, everything is online. Sitting at office, you're able to file all the details thanks to faceless assessments. So what I mean to say, the way practice was 30 years back and what practice is today has undergone a major change. I think we should be aware of this change. We can't expect clients to, take appointment. Earlier, it used to be a chamber practice. People used to call up and say, we would like to meet Mr. Raghu. What time? I used to say, okay, he can come at 12:30. Then another client used to say at 1. Today, nothing like that. Everything happens on Zoom calls. Everything happens on email. Everything happens on telephone. There's no question of a chamber practice. Clients coming to you, sitting in your cabin is all gone. So things have changed. So you need to understand this change. You need to understand the new opportunities. You need to understand how business dynamics are changing. Only then you can be successful. Or else, friends, let me tell you very frankly, your revenues will not go up. You will get stagnated and you'll realize that you're not in a position to leverage on the opportunities around you. Yes, for all this, investments are required in technology. You should embrace technology. You should invest in technology. You should upskill. Upskilling is what? Taking up new courses. You should invest in manpower. You should invest in IT, softwares. You should invest in legal versions of the software in your office. And you should empower the staff to do everything effectively. If we are able to do all this, there are plenty of opportunities for all of us. Now, Anirudh, till what time I can go on? Now it's 7:16.
Yeah, and we have around 20 to 30 minutes. Post that, we can take up few questions.
Fine. Now, quickly coming to the growth strategy. See, basically, it's the desire of every practicing chartered accountant who's watching this webinar to grow his practice, right? But yes, challenges are in plenty. The current challenge today is the pandemic itself. Clients are not ready to pay on time. When you want to collect your receivables, the client says, Mr. Raghu, give me some time because of COVID pandemic, we're not able to pay you. So what is happening is the firms are not able to grow. So I have designed a few slides that will help you to grow your practice from a small firm to a small and medium to a mid-sized firm, even it's a mid-sized firm to a much bigger firm. Today, the current practice in India, Anirudh, is that most of the chartered accountants are either sole proprietors, a one-man show, and all the sole proprietors have to manage their office. If something goes wrong with the printer, the staff will come and say the printer is not working. If something is wrong with the UPS, they'll come and tell you, sir, the UPS is not working. So this is something practically what is happening. So you're a one-man show. Time available to you is insufficient. You do not have the time to read. You do not have the time to review the work done by your staff. And you find that always you need to work for late hours. And 80-20 rule, 80% of the time is spent for generating 20% of your revenue. Generally, of the total revenue you have, 80% of your time goes for, so it is essential that today you should be in a position to weed out unproductive clients. So if you see the current profile of practice, most of the CAs in the country are sole proprietors or two partners. The institute has done a lot of research on this. We have done a lot of surveys, and 95% of the practicing professionals are in this category. Then some of the myths in the CA practice is that everyone feels that only the big CA firms need a proper system. Small CA firms don't require systems. I don't agree with that. Each and every CA, when he's carrying out an attest function, when he's carrying out any work for the client, has to have a proper system of documentation. Today, documentation is very critical. When there's a peer review happening, they'll ask you for documentation. If there's a disciplinary case against you, they'll ask you for documentation. So you need a proper system of maintaining records. You need a proper system of, documenting the way you carry out the audit. And another myth is that networking doesn't work. People say, no, I don't agree with this. My personal experience is that you can grow your practice by networking with other CA firms. And I would suggest that whoever is keen to go to practice, please think of networking with CA firms. It need not be formal networking, it could be informal networking. Let us say you go to Indore, maybe you should say hi to Kemisha and meet her at her office. Let us say you go to Delhi, you should speak to Nanda and try to see whether you can work with him. If you're coming to Bangalore, if you know me, you should meet me. That's how you grow your practice. That's how you network with CA firms and try to grow your practice. And we find that many of our members are poor in networking. Mergers are not successful. I don't agree with that. If Kemisha is specializing in, let us say, indirect taxes, Nandaji is specializing in audit, and I am specializing in direct taxes, we should see whether all the three of us can come together and work together. Institute is spending a lot of time on trying to bring the firms together. And in Bangalore, I see a lot of mergers taking place. And networking is something each one of you should make a conscious attempt. Can I work with other CA firm? Because let us say if you're in Jalandhar, just looking at clients in Jalandhar will not help. You should work with CA firms in Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta. And the feeling that the CAs are good only in taxation audit, I don't agree. If you come to Bangalore, you'll be shocked to know most of the young CAs are not into taxation audit. They're into a lot of new areas. They are into providing services for clients in a lot of exciting areas, and they're all very, very successful. So the myth is that we are good only in taxation audit. I don't agree with that. These are some of the myths. And most of the challenges faced by the small and medium practitioners today is that, recruiting and retaining the quality staff has become a big problem. Most of the CA firms in the country depend on article clerks. But let me tell you, friends, if you depend on article clerks, you will have a challenge. Yes, the cost of having article clerks is low, but you will not be able to deliver quality service to the client. And you need to appoint good quality staff, recruit them, train them. And today, another big challenge faced by small and medium players is that retaining the clients, because the client's loyalty is reduced compared to what it was 30 years back when we started practice. Client goes to a chartered accountant who charges less. So retaining client base has become very difficult. Then we have competition from the other bigger firms happening. And level of fees also is something which is not attractive. Let us say a client is paying you $1 lakh for a tax audit 4 years back. When you tell him, sir, we want you to increase the fees to 1,50,000, he's not ready to increase the fees. So most of the CA firms are having this problem of, getting a revision of the audit fees, even though we have come out with a recommended scale of fees for CA firms. And we did a lot of debate and came out with this recommended scale of fees. And when we tell the client, this is what the institute has said, to some extent, we are getting support from the institute to say that this is what we are expected to charge. The clients are able to understand. So the level of fees today being charged by the small and medium practitioners is very poor. And as a result of which, these challenges are bogging many of the the medium practitioners. What are the practice changes that is taking place? Very quickly, I'll tell you, the traditional practice is dwindling. As I said earlier, going to the tax department, filing tax returns, all this are becoming, dwindling because of online. Clients are able to file the return online. Today, a lot of good softwares are available. And today, there's a lot of automation. Everything is electronic. Your TDS returns, your tax returns, your GST returns, less of paper. And then businesses of clients are changing. you find that a lot of clients are getting into new business. They're embracing technology. You need to understand this. This is something very important. You can't do an audit of a client without knowing the technology for which they're working. And we find that there's a need for us to move from compliance. Most of the CAs are involved in filing GST return, filing tax return. I think we need to move out of this compliance related and provide value-added services. Whether you can help the client with some extra funding from a venture capital fund, whether you can help your client to disinvest so that he can dilute his bank loan. These are the value-added services which you can provide to a client. Generally, a client comes to you, you carry out your audit, you have a cup of coffee with him, and that's it, he pays your fee. But what you need to see is whether you can add any value to his business, whether you can be a good consultant to him. What are the areas where you feel are the concerns for him, and how we address this concern. This is something that, we as chartered accountants can provide value-added services. And today, what is happening is the client's awareness is increasing. Earlier, I had to inform the client such and such a thing is happening. But today, if there's a change in the TDS provision regarding how much tax is deducted, the client will be knowing at the same time you are knowing, because of WhatsApp and because of media. The client comes to know about the developments taking place in the tax law. At the same time, you are coming to know. And then client relationships are becoming more professional and formal today. If you come to a city like Bangalore, when we interact with clients, traditionally clients used to be very personal with you. But we find that the new generation clients are not looking at a personal relationship, they're more formal. Need for succession planning. What happens to the firm, let us say, after the partner or the proprietor is no more? Succession planning is not there. These are some things which we need to focus on. Investment in IT infrastructure, very, very important. Work from home, having a powerful cloud servers, all this is very important. Single window service, a client comes to your office, he wants you to file your income tax return, he wants you to file your GST return, he wants to comply with FCRA, he wants you to, do everything under one roof. That is the thing. Multi-locational service, a client wants to know whether you have an office in Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai, and services to global organization. Today, sitting in Bangalore, I'm able to offer my services to clients in Singapore or clients, let us say, in Hong Kong. Earlier, that was not possible. Today, all the chartered accountants around the country in practice are serving global organizations. These are the changes that is taking place in the practice, which we need to be aware. So, way forward, networking is very critical. Mergers and specialization is the order of the day. Kemisha would tell me that ICA guidelines for networking was, brought out by the institute. But for some reason, we did not have too many firms applying for these networks. I have been given to understand the council is working on new networking guidelines. And I'm sure, people like Kemisha Soni would take the lead and develop these networking guidelines so that we can get into new areas. Let us say I'm specializing in taxation and I know that Kemisha is specializing in international taxation. I can collaborate with her. Let us say if I come to know that Nanda is into, business process outsourcing, he handles US tax returns processing, I can collaborate with him. Networking is the only way for us to create new opportunities. Kemisha, you have to say something?
No, sir, I'm okay. Just we have revised this networking guideline 21 and we have already passed in council. And from February, it is already applicable new guideline. And in that particular new guideline, we have introduced concept of two new concepts. Apart from present networking guideline, we have also added lead firm concept also and alliance concept also. So that we have given more relaxation and more comfort to our firms.
Excellent. I think that's a very good initiative, Kemisha. And I think after my presentation, I would request you to add some more things which the council has done for the benefit of members. Since 2,000 people are watching, many of the initiatives that you people have done from the committee for members in practice and various other initiatives would be helpful to the members. So what I would like to say that networking is very critical. And once you network with other CA firms, you can provide a lot of services to the client. Merger of firms, yes, a lot of challenges will be there because the salary structures will vary from one firm to one. Let us say my firm wants to merge with Kemisha Soni's firm. The scale of fees would differ. Then let us say, I might lose my independence and flexibility. And then a lot of things would happen when two firms merge. Challenges are there, but it can be overcome. That is not very difficult. So coming to the mergers which I have seen today, firms have to grow. The only way for the firms to grow is to merge. The biggest advantage what I see in the firms merging is that the overheads would reduce. You can share the tensions. Let us say me and Kemisha and together in practice, we can share the workload. We can provide better quality of service. We can have a better infrastructure, better quality of the staff, a better image, and we can have a lot of synergy. Demerits is that, yes, clash of work. She would be working in a different environment before the merger, myself in a different environment. Then staff redundancy. Then what would happen is a client, since the infrastructure cost would have gone up, I'll be charging the client more. So increased fees. So these are some of the things like staffing policies need to be integrated. These are some of the challenges. But yes, it is absolutely. Friends, one thing keep in mind. What is very important is that every year when you begin your year, each one of us, 1st of January, we take what is it we need to do. January, February, March are lean months in the profession. These are the months where you can bring about changes in your office. You can make investments in your office. You can see that you get prepared for the ensuing financial year. That's what I do in my office. Immediately after December, January, February, March is the time where we spend time on automation, spend on training on staff and all these things. One of the important things that you need to keep in mind when you want to grow your practice to the next stage is that you'll have to learn to delegate. Most of the practitioners in the country I've seen, they don't want to delegate. They would like to do everything themselves. If at all you want to grow, you should be in a position to delegate. So if you do not delegate, you'll not be able to grow your practice. And then create the right teams. Let us say you have a good assignment for forensic audit. You should create a small team in your office who can handle the assignment and report to you. Then you should have responsible people to handle routine queries. The client should not disturb you. And today what is happening is sending awareness to the clients. Today, newsletters are being sent by most of the CFOs to the client. All these are very much important. Billing, everyone is automated. Today we find that, lot of training is happening for the article clerks. And there's a need for us to, hire high quality work. So what is important is that your job is to enhance client value. What do you mean by enhancing client value? Keeping in touch with the client. Let us say post-COVID, how many of you have spoken to your client or during COVID to check their health, check their welfare? You should take an opportunity and say hi to the client and say, how are you, sir? It's a courtesy call. How's COVID, impacting you? I hope all of you are fine. Then sending articles to clients on a WhatsApp, whatever it is, flashes to them, and helping clients with your contact. Let us say, your client is dealing in a particular product and some other client of yours wants that product, trying to see and be a facilitator and trying to put them together. Then, building a personal relationship with the client is very, very important. Unless you develop a personal relationship with the client, you're not able to take the relationship to a higher extent. Participating in social activity. All of us do that. Offering a form, like let us say you have a boardroom. You can offer that to your client. And volunteering to attend client's internal meeting. Let us say the client is going for an ERP. He is doing a SAP implementation. Can you volunteer and try to take part? Whether you're paid or not is different, but whether you can do it. And using technology to improve turnaround time is very important. And friends, one thing you need to keep in mind is a lot of non-remunerative clients are there. Please drop them out. If the only biggest problem today in chartered account officers in the country is that we don't map the time spent by the article clerk or your paid assistant on each of the clients. Let us say for filing a tax return for a client, you're charging 10,000 rupees. When you do a mapping of the time, you realize that the cost of the service provided to them is more than 10,000 rupees. And many a time we don't realize that, we are providing services to clients at a concessional price, or maybe we are incurring more expenditure on providing that same service. So wherever you find that it is not remunerative, please withdraw. Try to earn higher fees. Traditional areas of practice, you can't earn higher fees. Go for specialization. Specialization is the only mantra for you to improve your billing. And then try to improve your speed of billing, speed of collection, reduce space and equipment costs. No need for you to have too much of a big office. Accommodate flexi staff. When I was a president, when we had Women Empowerment Company, Nanda was a chairman, he launched a flexi working portal. Let us say Kemisha Soni is at home. She's not able to work full time at our office. We provide an opportunity for her to work in the nearby CA firm, neighborhood CA firm. So we told the CA firms across the country, please encourage flexi staffing. People, the women member can come for half day, either in the lunch, post lunch or pre-lunch, and attend the office. And it became a big success. And today we find that a lot of CAs who are discontinued from the profession are now getting back by joining the nearby CA firms and they are able to provide their service to the tech. And with work from home, I find that a lot of child account, ladies are able to, provide services from home. So finally, friends, what is very important is that we are in challenging times. COVID has brought about a lot of changes, a lot of new opportunities has come up. There's a need for us to change our style of practice. There's a need for us to get into new areas. There's a need for us to upskill. There's a need for us to see what is happening around in the new business models. There's a need for us to assist our clients. So it's absolutely essential to see that you provide outstanding client service that is to their best satisfaction. And finally, when you do all this, you achieve financial success. Financial success comes by default. So your focus is delivering outstanding service to the best satisfaction of the client. And once you do that, whether it's COVID or whatever it is, things will look very bright, things will look very rosy. And my request to all the chartered accountants passing here is that innovate. You think of the new thing that you want to get in, have a vision for the firm, brainstorm with your partners, try to see what are the new things you can bring in. Spend quality time with your staff to train them, because if you have a good trained staff, they can do better quality of engagement. And Kamisha Soni can share with us that today the expectation of the regulators have increased. The stakeholders of the companies, whether it's investors, whether it's bankers, regulators, expectation of profession increase. We need to do high quality work, and audit documentation is important. Ensuring that we do a high quality work so that we are not questioned by the institute. All these are very, very important. And for this, you need to make a very sincere effort in your office to train your staff, to improve the systems, controls in the office, and see that good quality work is generated for the clients. With these words, I'm extremely thankful to Kamisha Soni, the chairperson, and Charanjot Singh Nanda for having given me an opportunity to speak to all the chartered accountants. Speaking on a Sunday evening from home is really nice. I'm speaking in a very relaxed mode, and I'm so happy that we have got such a good response. And thanks to Aniruddha Tiwari for having coordinated the session. And I would look forward to hearing both from Kamisha and Charanjot Singh Nanda what are the new things they are doing, and then we can take the question answer if anything is there.
Thank you so much, sir, for your fantastic deliberation. And you have covered broad area of the opportunity for every young and experienced chartered accountants. And very true, as you have said, that most of the chartered accountancy firms, around 90% firms, are into the proprietorship only. So they need to merge and they need to specialize into their respective subject in order to get some new opportunity in the market, emerging market, I would say. And the areas which you said, like the documentation and training to staff, automation, networking, this is very important if you actually want to scale up your practice and grow your business, grow your practice in the current scenario. The new area, as you said, the blockchain, the data analytics, IFRS, the banking area, forensic, agencies for special monitoring, ASM, IBC, FinTech. This is fantastic areas. One should start these areas apart from the traditional practice which we are living since last 30, 40 years. This is the time when we need to spend some time on the new learning. We need to diversify our practice into the new areas. So thank you so much, sir, for your fantabulous deliberation. Now I would request Kamisha Madam and Charanjot Singh Nanda ji to add few words about the practice for the young generation.
Now, especially from the viewpoint of what the institute has done, the initiatives, a lot of initiatives are being done. I'll be very happy if both of them can share.
Yeah, sir, I would request you to kindly come on full front, sir. Remove the PPT, sir.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Sir. Great.
Yeah. So, Nandaji, we were talking about... In fact, Nandaji is a standing example of how networking, he has been extremely successful in his practice. Nandaji started his practice, from scratch. Today has built a good practice. And one thing which I've noticed in Nandaji is his ability to network with firms around the country is excellent. That is what I was talking about, network. I'm sure they both share their experiences. sir. Madam?
Kamisha madam.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Just excellent deliberation, sir. Raghu sir, I would say, because you have covered all practice management areas and also opportunity, also for new opportunity you have already covered. But at institute side, I will share certain development regarding networking guideline. I have already covered that certain other models has already been introduced. So that is completely, I would say, domestic networking guideline. So under that, our young chartered accountant also connect with other firms across India, and also they can develop their practice as per geographically they can connect, as per expertise they can connect with other firms also. Second one is related to what Raghu sir has also covered about 80-20, that is Pareto principle. So regarding that, if our firm constitute like 80% our time and 80% our client, and they only contribute 20% of our fees, so we can select in that sense also regarding that we can delegate those type of work that is related to nowadays only compliance, only filing, and only feeding type of services we can bifurcate, and compliance services, government audit, other type of compliances we can bifurcate accordingly. And apart from that, we can develop our, as per our interest, our own areas of practice and expertise according that. And second, for young chartered accountant, I would say that digital branding is also most important, because after certain relaxation in our revised code of ethics, they can create their website, they can do their branding on social media platform also. So within legal frame, what they can do, because they are not using entire things related to that, related to branding. So I would suggest, and even at nominal rate, young chartered accountant can set up their practice. Because of CMP committee, they have certain MOUs with various suppliers, for example, for certain software, for insurance products also, for website also. So they can use all type of tool under CMP committee also. Then merger, already Raghu sir has covered. Apart from that, I would also suggest corporate form of practice for management consultancy services. Apart from, as a firm, audit firm, assurance firm, they can develop, that is allowable. Our member can create their own company for management consultancy services under section 2, subsection 2, clause 4, that is allowable with full-time practice, and our member can be executive director and managing director in that particular company, and their family member also can be shareholder in a corporate form of practice in that particular company. So they can also develop their company for consultancy also. And also I would like to add that sir has mentioned about flexi working opportunity. So for the information, sir, we have also created one portal, separate portal for connecting our female chartered accountant with practicing firms in the form of whether they want to join as a partner, or whether they want to work on assignment basis or part-time basis or flexi working hour or work from home. So they can connect. We have already added 164 branches in that portal. So that particular area female where she resides, so she can upload their total detail expertise areas. For example, she is expert in international taxation, or she is an expert in that internal audit, like that. So she can mention everything about that. And our industry and firms also upload their detail about the requirement, whether as a partner or part-time or assignment basis. So they can also work, they can also find that type of option on our portal. So sir, we have already added that point also. And regarding ICI also, so many professional opportunities are there, because we are conducting more than 30 certificate courses. For example, Raghu sir has also mentioned forensic, then concurrent under that CS Nanda sir also chairman of that. Apart from that, wealth management and other so many courses are there, arbitration and all courses are there. So what our member can do, apart from day-to-day practice, they can use that certificate course expertise. But apart from that, they can also, as a faculty of that particular courses, they can be examiner also over there, and they can also paper setter also. And for content development as a resource person, for example, we have Financial Reporting Review Board, Tax Audit Quality Review Board. So our member can be there as a technical advisor, technical resource person also. So that is certain things what I would like to share with you all. And apart from that, I would say that as said by Oprah Winfrey, so just I am quoting her statement, challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand. So dear members, let's stress on the need for change in our professional outlook, in tune with changing times. If we want to call the next decade as the decade of Indian Chartered Accountants, change is constant and it is the signal for rebirth. So with that, I would request again moderator Anirudh for further proceedings. Over to Anirudh.
Thank you so much, Kemisha Madam, for sharing the insight of the development by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India with respect to the betterment of professionals. And indeed, yes, the Institute has collaboration with many IT professionals, IT companies, and software companies as well, with insurance companies as well. And Institute is really working very hard to give the good opportunity and options for the members, even the young generation practitioners also, to the extent possible. So thank you so much, Madam, for sharing your views out there. Now, I would request Vice Chairman of the committee, Sri Charanjot Singh Nandaji, for the vote of thanks.
Anirudh, I would say, I would also request, because he has taken one initiative regarding the two programs, that Wednesday Words of Wisdom and Monday Beating, that Monday program. So I would request that he please also throw some light on that.
Yes, please, Nanda sir, please.
Thank you, Commissioner Man. My Honorable President C.A.K. Raghu, proud father of two children, Pooja, Arjun, Bhabhi Indra, a wonderful man who has always, I want to tell you one thing about a very personal thing I would like to share before the entire community here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have always been looking for God. And if you go and read the Sastras, the religious books, they say God is like the parents. And I'm reminding you of a couplet which is very old and people know it. It is in Hindi. I'll give the English version also, Raghu sir. It says, Idhar udhar mat talasho. Idhar udhar mat talasho. जिनकी उंगलियां पकड़कर चलना सीखा है उन्हें ही भगवान कहते हैं. The English version is, don't look for God hither and thither. Who has taught you to walk, with whom you have learned how to walk, are living gods. I can say this is personification for our President Raghu. President Raghu, father was also the Regional Council Chairman, SIRC Chairman. And when, at the dark hour when he was passing, he called Raghu by his side, caught his hand and said, my son, I want you to become a council member and rise up to the position of the president. And therefore, when brother Raghu joined the council, he was as cool, as clear in his concept, no arguments, no negativity, always positivity. He won number one, the entire South voted for him. He came with a resounding majority, a towering personality like him, ensured that what his father said, and within 3 years, first year of third term, he became the vice president. Second year, he became the president. Very cool. In fact, he told me that I was the founder chairman of Women Member Empowerment Committee. I was the chairman of CP also at one time. But madam, I want to tell you, I did not want to become the chairman of Women Member Empowerment Committee. Then he spoke to my wife. And you know, when wife says something, it is very difficult for one to say no. And at the end, he again called me and my wife for dinner. And Sarvana Bhavan had asked whether the decision which was given to you, was it good or not? We did so many programs. We did the first International Women Member Empowerment Committee program in Dubai. Abu Dhabi said, it was a great, fantabulous program. I did one program in Pune. And let me tell you, madam, the maximum ladies, they said, Mr. Nanda, I want to make a request. Take us to Pakistan. They wanted to go to Lahore and buy very good dresses. The program was fixed in Lahore, but due to some tensions at the border. Otherwise, myself, my wife, he, his wife, they're all willing to go there to Pakistan. So, Mr. Raghu's tenure was so well Christianed, so well arranged, so well structured, not a single day of mismanagement. And today also what he spoke was right, hit on the hammer. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this profession calls for paradigm shift in your practice areas. We can't afford to leave our practices. I want to say one thing on record here. All of you are doing practice, you would have seen your practice eroding to 30-40%. This is the starting of the melting of the iceberg. It will ultimately become water. Time is there. Please go ahead. I will give you 4 or 5 services. You can go into management consulting services, as Kamisha has told. Yes, there are 26 services which you can do in terms of management consulting. You have to choose one of them, master that. And networking will add to it. Don't do anything on one place. If you want to do GST, you can do PAN India sitting in your office. You can do anything what you want to. Second thing, multidisciplinary. I told earlier also when I started, multidisciplinary partnerships have now become the reality. MCA gifted this on 1st of July. You can do partnership, you can set up a big conglomerate. You can join, you can put advocates, company secretaries, architects, MBAs, company secretaries, and create a larger outfit where services can be rendered by you. Technology is very important. Raghu sir, we did a program last Monday. There is day before yesterday where a person from Bangalore, Saurabh Goenka, he spoke about how chartered accountants can be involved into artificial intelligence, the services they can give. We need it at the highest level. If we are not able to provide proper services in the proper tandem, we'll be vanished away. Outsourcing services all across the country. There is need for so many outsourcing services. International taxation, international accounting, payroll accounting, all has to be done by us only. We can't afford to go back on that. Networking is the only key to it. Please do proper networks. Understand things in our age. Raghu sir is always very technology savvy. We understand accounting. In young people's age, you understand GST, you understand conversion from Indian GAAP to international, to IFRS, to US GAAP, to UK GAAP, to Japanese GAAP. We have to call these things, and your communication has to be at the highest level. And therefore, we called, you would remember Mr. Amit Arora, Raghu sir. So he spoke on communication, the myths about communication. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to put forth one thing very forcefully, that it is we chartered accountants who have to create greener pastures for us. Nobody will come. Qualifying a chartered accountancy course, you have proved that you are beyond normal people. We are people who spend their entire life creating structures, and we have to create a great practice outfit for us. Not taking much of your time, I would now propose the formal vote of thanks. I want to thank Shri K. Raghu. He will always smile, a man with a smiling face called Krishna. Always smiling. I've never seen him tense. And he will never mince his words. Actually, people who rise up to these positions are people who know how to blatantly say the thing, but in a very cool fashion. He will know how to say difficult things in very, very cool fashion, make you understand and ultimately make you agree on the right thing. He did that in the entire council. Not a single day was witnessed where there was any altercation or any discussion in the council on various issues. Everything was very amicably taken for the benefit of the profession. I am thankful to Madam Kamisha Soni, the Honorable Chairman of the board of the committee, who has been spending so much time. Raghuji, I want to tell you that Kamisha ji is working so much. Every day she has an idea. She is putting the credit to me. Wonder Wednesday was her idea. Countering Monday Blues were her idea. She keeps on working and drawing inspiration from sources better known to her for the benefit of members. In fact, when she was the chairperson of CIRC, she ensured that zero pendency was, and every day it was published that it is zero pendency. So when you have leaders who understand things, when you have leaders who are able to put things in the right perspective, the working also comes onto the platform.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. She's basically, I want to say that she has been putting so many efforts. And last but not the least, CA Anirudh Tiwari, young aspiring chartered accountant. I have seen him manage so many programs. He has created his aura for himself. He has created an entire structure for himself to work, to ensure that all topics, all contemporary topics are taken by him. I know him from when he was a student, but now he has risen to the level where he is able to contribute very well for the cause of this profession. I want to tell one thing to my participants, that we can only grow when we start learning. I'm reminded of N.A. Palkiwala, who once said, I'm told he once said, that I envy chartered accountants for two reasons. Reason number one, we had continuing professional education. This was way back in 85. We are now 21. Continuing professional education, some 40 years back he knew, and today it is at such level that every time you have 5 programs going on simultaneously. And second, he said that it is the only institute in the world which has the CABF Benevolent Fund, and which services people who are not even a member of this fund. This COVID has put so many people in distress. President sir, we are giving 1,50,000 to a person who is affected by COVID. If unfortunately somebody is meeting the sad demise, we are giving 1,50,000 as ex gratia if he is below 55 years, and 50,000 rupees for 10 years, 1,80,000 for 10 years.
Excellent.
This CABF was set by our forefathers and forebears to ensure that the socialistic perspective. I want to tell you one more thing, sir. We have now extended this facility to the articles as well. We don't want to any way do any discrimination. This council, please see, yes, today was the second exam. This exam under such pandemic was conducted with a lot of courage. So, sir, the entire council, the entire profession is geared up to reach unprecedented heights and work in tandem to ensure the things which are in the right way. I want to say only one thing, that we are all friends. And again, a couplet, sir, I will give the English version. The couplet says, दौरे गर्दिश में भी जीने का मजा देते हैं. दौरे गर्दिश में भी जीने का मजा देते हैं. चंद दोस्त हैं जो वीरानों में भी महफिल सजा देते हैं. This is dedicated to you, Raghu sir. It means that even in the times of turpitude and tension, life becomes beautiful because there are friends like you who ensure that every problem is immediately solved and life becomes a celebration. So all of us, our all professional colleagues have to come to this celebration and enjoy life like that. I want to thank all of you for staying in large numbers, sir, and contributing. We all have to learn and contribute. When you want anything, you can write to the committee. We would ensure that the topics of your choice are taken. We try to bring in always different topics. We want to bring the best of the topics so that you, sitting at your home, we will reach your doorsteps and coach you, train you on the areas which are pertinent to carry on this profession of chartered accountancy. I want to thank you all. Thanks, Raghu sir, for coming.
Thank you.
Anirudh-ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Vijay Tiwari-ji, the secretary. Thank you, Mansukh, the person who is making this technology seamless so that all of us can be in tandem, can be in connection and connect with each other. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night.